Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Skye and today I wanted to do a tattoo tour. One thing that is important to know about me is that I am quite a goblin when it comes to tattoos. I currently have 9 on myself at the moment and I just love tattoos. I love talking about them, I love getting them, I love the experience, so I thought I would share the stories behind some of mine and do my makeup at the same time. The background is still a work in progress. We did get the shelving unit up, but boxes are still there, so it'll slowly get more tidy as time goes on. I'm not going to be talking too much about the makeup that I'm using, but I will be showing like what products I'm using. If I forget to mention anything, everything's listed in the description down below. And today I wanted to use the Sandra Rose palette from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. They brought this back for a very limited time in a mini form and I had to get it. It is super stunning. I am thinking of using a couple of the neutral shades with this on my lid and maybe a little bit of rose as well. I've just been really into some more neutral looks lately. And I wanted to do something a bit simple while I talk. So without further ado, let's get started. We're gonna go in chronological order of my tattoos. So yeah, I'll also insert little clips of them so you can see them a bit better. Hello, sorry to pop in here abruptly and with the look completely finished, but I do want to just add a bit of a trigger warning here. In this video, I do touch on themes of mental health and self-harm. If those are things that you cannot listen to, then please skip out on this video. I will also include timestamps here when I do start talking about them, before I'm about to talk about them, so in case you still want to watch the video but just skip out those parts, you can. Please look after yourselves, take care of yourselves. I just forgot to say this at the beginning because I didn't realise I was going to get a little bit deep with this, and I also touch on leaving an abusive relationship, so thankfully I don't talk in too much detail about these topics, but if you are sensitive to these, I just want to give a bit of a warning, so yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video. Now let's talk about tattoos. So the first tattoo that I ever got was this little baby right here. It's a teeny tiny moon, literally the size of like a 20p coin. It is absolutely tiny. It's the smallest tattoo that I have. I wanted to get something really small to start off with because even though I had been wanting tattoos since as long as I can remember, I think when I decided that I wanted to get tattoos, I think I was like 9. On another thing to note of me, I am deathly afraid of needles and injections and anything like that. So I was like, I'm scared I'll panic, so I'll get something tiny first. And funnily enough, I actually enjoy getting tattooed. I find it really relaxing. So the pain doesn't really bother me except for a couple of places, which I will talk about later when we get to those. So yeah, I got a tiny moon. There's really not much meaning behind it. I just like moons. They're pretty and they're cool, and I just thought it was a really cute placement on my wrist. However, with time I have learned that I absolutely hate getting tattooed on my wrist. I know a lot of people have said that wrist tattoos are like not that painful. It's like mixed. Some people say they're not that painful, others say they're the worst thing on earth. I am in the worst thing on earth category. I hate them. I hate them. I forgot to mention I got this tattoo like a couple months after I turned 18. The next tattoo that I actually got in February 2020? No, January 2020. So I was just about to turn 19 and it was before shit hit the fan. And that is my beautiful baby right here, this owl. The way that I went from tiny moon, like the smallest thing ever, to literally something the size of my forearm, I can't tell you. My owl does have a name. His name is Archimedes from the movie The Sword and the Stone. It's a very good Disney movie if you have never watched it, honestly. I'm not really a big fan of Disney movies, but that one, oh, I love it. I love that little owl. And the artist that did that tattoo is Lenihan Tattoo. I will link my artist's Instagrams down below because I go to Laura Lenihan and Heidi Kaye Tattoo. Those are my 2 tattoo artists that I go to in London, and I am not straying away from them for the time being because they both do exactly what I like. Like Laura does really big, beautiful, bold, intense black work, which I absolutely adore, and Heidi does a lot, like a mix of things, like she does more fine line. Okay, let's get into the story of Archimedes right here. So, when I was a teenager, I would draw a lot on myself. And I'm talking like I would draw full designs of things. Like I'd draw roses, like leaves, flowers, animals, like with regular like pen. Because for me, it was a creative outlet and also a coping mechanism for self-harming. When I felt like I needed to self-harm, I had that urge, I would instead draw on myself. It didn't always work, but it was some form of a coping mechanism. And one time I was having a really bad night. Honestly, I don't remember most of what happened. And I remember drawing this owl. And like I used a reference picture online, like just to sketch out roughly. And after I drew it, I don't think I have the picture of the original anymore. But after I drew it, I was like, this needs to be a tattoo. I need this on myself. I just had such a pull towards it. Like all the other things that I drew on myself, I was like, oh, this just looks cool. But the owl, I was like, I need this. I absolutely need this on myself. And yeah, so I went to Laura and we got started on it, and she obviously altered it a little bit to make it fit her style more and to make it look more like a, you know, just to make it look a little bit better, put her own spin on it, and I absolutely love the design she came out with. And the funny thing was, when I went to her, I was like, this is my second tattoo, but this is my first, like, bigger one. Because, I mean, as much as the moon counts as a tattoo, I mean, that's kind of nothing compared to this. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be sitting here for a few hours, I need to, like, prepare myself. Now, the thing is that because this is on my forearm, it starts here at my wrist. Now, like I've mentioned, wrist is horrendous for me. I was not having a good time, especially because my wrist was bent all the way back, like, in order for her to, like, get the clean lines. It was, because the skin is so thin, it was awful. Everything else was pretty much fine, except for the ears and the top of the head, right here. Now, the elbow ditch is probably one of the more, like, horrendous spots to get tattooed, or, like, anywhere near it. Same with elbow. Like, wrist, all around the wrist here, and elbow ditch, and elbow. Lord have mercy on me. So yeah, the experience was a lot more painful, and I still found it, like, quite healing, because at least for me with getting tattooed, it feels very healing because it feels like how I would self-harm, and especially because this was on, you know, a part of my body that I did self-harm, it was very healing. Like, I remember, like, laying there kind of, like, meditating almost in a way, and kind of being like, this is, you know, pain, but this pain is going to result in something beautiful instead of something that I will feel ashamed of and I will feel bad about myself for. And honestly, when I got Archimedes, I was like, this is, like, the start of something amazing, and I was so determined in 2020 to get more tattoos. I was like, I have to get more, we gotta go for it. And then the pandemic happened. So I did take a few months break from getting tattooed. I am using the Nabla Skin Bronzing in Ambra. But yeah, at some point in the summer, I felt safe to travel to London to go and get tattooed again. And I found Heidi Kaye on Instagram, and I absolutely fell in love with her work. It is so beautiful. I love, like, the details that she does, and just everything about it was so cool. So I knew I was gonna have to book in with her. And the funny thing is, with Laura and Heidi, I was kind of like, because I had been following them on Instagram for quite a while before I got tattooed by them. So when I met them in person, this sounds so dorky, I was kind of like giddy, being like, oh my god, I get to meet them, this is so weird, it's like meeting a celebrity. Anyways, ramble over. The third tattoo I got was this one right here. This is my kangaroo paw flower. And the meaning behind this one is that the kangaroo paw, it's one of my favourite flowers, and it is the flower, the national flower of Western Australia, which is where I grew up. I grew up in Perth, in case the accent is kind of lost. I am Australian, I'm half Australian, and I absolutely adore Australia. I'm really proud of my, like, heritage and my nationality, being Australian and Serbian, and I wanted something that would kind of like honour Western Australia and Perth without being like the Australian flag. And kangaroo paws are one of my favourite flowers. They're so unique and gorgeous, so I knew I had to go to Heidi to do it because Heidi does beautiful flowers. And yeah, at this point she was working at Black Tattoo, that studio. She now works in a private studio. One of my least painful tattoos, apart from like the point here where the stems go onto the wrist, I was like, okay, stop that now. But yeah, nothing much to say. I absolutely love this piece. This is the tattoo I get the most questions about because a lot of people are like, what the fuck is that? But I just love it. It's just, it honours like being Australian and makes me really, really happy. Some of my tattoos have deep meanings, some don't. Like this is just, you know, being Australian. This one was a little bit more deep, and you'll see that theme going forward. And after I met Heidi and I got this one and things were kind of opening up again, I got the goblin kick for tattoos. I was like, right, it's time to go full force. So then I decided I'd always wanted to get my chest tattooed, and I was really worried about the pain for this one because I knew what to expect with arms getting tattooed at this point. Like, I only had 3, but I knew what to expect. And I was really worried with chest because a lot of people say that chest is really, really horrendous. So, as we can see, I have 2 lavenders across my chest, both done by Heidi. And I remember talking to Heidi before I booked in. I was like, I want to get my chest done. I would love for you to do 2 lavenders, but I'm really scared of the pain. Like, do you accept, like, is it okay if I take, like, you know, like, numbing cream or something? And she said, you probably won't need it, but, you know, you can have it anyway. I ended up not using numbing cream because honestly I forgot to buy it, so oopsie whoopsie. And at this point Heidi had moved from Black Tattoo to Sad Peach Tattoo. Sad Peach Tattoo is a private studio and it's run by Heidi Kaye, Cherry Tattoos and Emily Rabbit. Them 3, and I love those 3. I love their work, and also just I love getting tattooed by Heidi and Laura because it just feels like you're talking to a mate. Like you feel so comfortable sitting and like laying there, and it's just nice vibes, you know? And I think that's really important when you're getting tattooed, is to like be with someone that 1, you like their style, and 2, you kind of get on with, because I mean they're going to be staring at your skin and working on your skin and hurting you for several hours, so maybe you should get along with them. I'm going into the Sandra Rose palette and I'm going into Pollen to blend in my crease. So yeah, the chest tattoos were the first ones that I got that were not on my arms, and when I got them done, obviously we had to like line them up perfectly. These are some of my favourite ones that I have. I mean, that's hard to say because I love all my tattoos, but I just love the way that these are like just under my collarbone. They make me feel just really beautiful, like I've been wanting to show off my chest more because of them. And honestly, while I was getting them done, these were the least painful to me, honest. Getting my chest tattooed was the most relaxing experience. I almost fell asleep while I was getting tattooed. It was so nice. It felt so relaxing, and the thing is also, with the tattoo machine, because it vibrates, I kind of felt the vibrations in my neck, and part of me was like, is Heidi tattooing my neck? I mean, I wouldn't be mad if she all of a sudden did. Very unprofessional. If someone just starts tattooing a different part of your body, that's not okay. But like, in that moment, I was like, yeah, she tattoos my neck. I mean, I don't mind, it'll look pretty. Because I just felt the sensation here, even though she was sticking to my chest, obviously. And the lavenders, the meaning behind those, it's got multi-meaning for me actually, funnily enough. So, one of them being, I bloody love lavender. Along with them being some of my favourite flowers, the first candle that I ever made for Rain Cloud Candles it's over there, was Lavender Skies. And I wanted something that it kind of represents, like, you know, something to do with Rain Cloud without, like, being, like, the brand's logo. You know, I just love lavender, and I wanted to commemorate, kind of like, as like a little reminder, and keep it close to me, you know? And also, another thing with lavender, another reason why I love them so much, is that lavender is a sapphic symbol. So they are very, like, symbolic for, you know, LGBTQ people, especially sapphics and lesbians. And while I am not a lesbian myself, I am non-binary, trans, I do present very femme, and I just always feel drawn to lavender, and it always just feels like a powerful symbol to me. There is a lot more history and story behind the lavenders, and I will link some info down below. I just can't think off the top of my head, sorry. And I also don't want to be here for too long because I feel like we've already been here for like 20 minutes. And we've only gotten to my fourth and fifth. I guess I count these as fourth and fifth because they're two different pieces. Also, another thing that makes me love my chest tattoos even more, along with them making me feel absolutely beautiful. I mean, all my tattoos make me feel really beautiful, but especially these ones. And we're gonna get a little bit deep here. When I was with my ex, he did not like tattoos that much. I mean, anytime I would talk about them, he would be like, I don't really care, like, it's like, what, I shouldn't, he just would brush it off and just not really pay attention to me, like, talking about how passionate I am. And when I mentioned to him that I wanted to get my chest done and I wanted to get the 2 lavenders, he said, oh, that's bold, are you sure you want that? And kind of made me doubt if I should get them. And after we split up, I booked the chest tattoos, because even though, like, he didn't stop me from getting tattooed, like the ones that I had gotten, I'd gotten the previous 3 while I was with him. While it didn't stop me, I always felt a bit guilty getting them done because I knew that he wasn't really a big fan of them. And it just felt icky, and I hate that so much. Like, if your partner makes you feel that way, I mean, I just think that's kind of shit. That's kind of shit, not gonna lie. But yeah, so after we broke up, I was in a really, really bad place with it, and getting the chest done and how meditative and relaxing it was, and then looking at myself in the mirror after I got these done, I felt beautiful for the first time in years, because I didn't feel beautiful for the longest time. I was so insecure. I'm a lot more self-assured now, but it was really empowering, and I wanted to tell Heidi so bad, but I was like, this is a bit embarrassing. I didn't want to say, like, oh, by the way, like, I just got out of an abusive relationship and this is, like, been the best thing ever. I feel like that's a bit of a big bomb to drop on somebody, and I wasn't quite ready. So yeah, that is the story of my lavenders. Quite deep, sorry about that. I am currently using the shade Seed to blend in the outer corners. Now we're getting on to my 6th tattoo. I'm probably getting the numbers wrong because I'm not good at math, but the next tattoo I got was done by Lenihan, and it is my big boy snake. This is one of, I can't say it's one of my favorites because I love all of them, but the snake, truly, I feel like a bad bitch with this one. Now at this point I hadn't seen Laura for about a year or 2, and I was really excited to see them again, and I was like, holy shit, I get to get tattooed by them. And they had a cancellation in December, and I was like, this is my time, because Laura's always like pretty booked up. So I slid in with an email being like, can I take that spot please? And she was like, of course, what are you thinking? And I mentioned that I wanted a snake. I just wanted a snake. The only thing I was picky about was I wanted the head to be on the top of my wrist, mainly because when I wear long sleeves, I want the head to poke out like that because I think it looks really sweet. And Laura was like, hell yeah, I just let them draw whatever they want. Usually with me, with my tattoos, I'm not picky with how they draw them. Sometimes I'm like, oh, can I have them facing a certain way? Can I have like certain aspects? But a lot of the time I just let them go wild and draw whatever they like, because with Laura and Heidi, I know that whatever they draw I will like because their style aligns with mine perfectly. So when Laura showed me how coily and huge the snake was, and she asked, like, is it okay if we bring it up a little bit higher so the tail is kind of like up here? I was like, fuck yes. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I love the way that she does, like, how bold this is and how, like, bam. And I love that all of the shading is dot work and everything, and like, I think it meshes well with Heidi's style too. And yeah, so when I got this done, I remember the stencil for this taking literally an hour. Now usually with me and my artists, the stencil is very quick. We usually get it done real fast. But Laura, I was their last client for the year, for 2021, and I remember like, she was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, because we kept putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, because none of them looked quite right because of how, like, I have skinny arms, okay, I'm a petite boy, I'm 5'1.5", and because of how big the piece was, we just like tried so many different ones because none of them looked quite right. And Laura was really apologetic. She was like, I'm so sorry, this is taking long. I don't know, like, what's wrong with... She said, like, I've had a long year. I feel like, you know, because you're my last client, I'm just not with it. And I was like, that's okay. I honestly didn't mind because you know, everyone has those days where something just doesn't turn out right. So yeah, the stencil took an hour. We did eventually get there, clearly. And then it was tattoo time. And boy... Now the thing is, because we started on the top of my wrist and we ended in the elbow ditch kind of area, fuck me, it was so painful. When Laura started, I was like, okay, I don't like this. And when they were getting down, I was like, okay, this is fine. And then, Christ, I was like near tears. Not gonna lie, and it's the only tattoo that I have felt that way with, like, pain-wise. And after Laura did, like, the outline, and we took, like, a bit of a break, she said to me, she was like, I'm so sorry, I feel like you want to kill me right now because of, like, the placement. And I said, like, because I'm always very quiet when I sit in the chair, but she probably could tell that I was, like, not having it. And I said to her, I was like, Laura, I have my chest tattooed, and... why a wrist and elbow ditch, so painful? And she just was like, yep, I know the struggle, because she's completely covered, basically. And she said, like, those are, like, my least favourite places to get done, so I'm really sorry that I'm doing this to you. And it was all fun. We were just, like, joking around, and it was all good and stuff. And, yeah, not much else to add apart from that. It's just a big, beautiful snake. Snakes are one of my favourite animals. They are beautiful. I love snakes so much, and also, like, growing up in Australia in my childhood, I saw a lot of snakes, so I just love snakes. They're beautiful boys. Okay, I'm gonna use the Firene Pixie Epoxy real quick as my glitter glue for my lid, and we're gonna move swiftly along to my next tattoo, and that is my Kookaburra right here. This one was done by Heidi, and I love him with my whole damn heart. I remember Heidi posted a Kookaburra that she did on another client, and I was like, bitch. I had already wanted a Kookaburra. I knew, I kind of had plans. I haven't talked about, like, the theming of my tattoos. I'll do that at the end. But I knew I wanted a Kookaburra, and as soon as I saw how Heidi did the other clients, I was like, yep, she's my girl, as always. I actually got this as a birthday gift from both of my parents for my 21st birthday. I went to Heidi. I actually got this tattoo 2 days after my 21st birthday. I think we understand why I got a Kookaburra tattoo, because here's the thing, I really fucking love birds. Like, birds are one of my favourite animals, Heidi's too. I'm going to use the shade Bloom on my lids. It's a beautiful purple-pink multi-chrome. And Kookaburras are just the sweetest, cheekiest little boys. Like, I remember seeing them in my backyard in Australia and just hearing them in the morning. It's just... they are just amazing creatures. I have always adored them. So having one right here, and, like, it doesn't have a name. I've never named him. He needs a name. But I just love how Heidi captured how cheeky his face is, and she added some, like, extra little leaves and little bits around it, and it's just perfect. It's just... I look at his face and I'm like, that is the cutest fucking shit. I haven't moisturised today. God damn. I should have probably done that before filming this video. Oopsie. Pain-wise, that tattoo, honestly, piss easy. Apart from the branch and, like, the tail where it, like, kind of comes down near the elbow, I was like, okay, this is getting a bit nasty. And also, like, the beak and this feather kind of coming in to my, it's not a feather, it's a leaf, like coming into like the squidgy part of my arm, like the inner portion of my arm, I was like, this is getting a bit stingy. This is getting a bit stingy, babe. Stop that, please. Now we're gonna move on to the penultimate tattoo on myself, and that is this right here. This is just a beautiful bunch of flowers, and this is the only tattoo I got on impulse. All of my tattoos have a lot of thought behind them and what, like, where I wanted them to be placed. This one, literally no. So the story behind this one, okay, it's got an interesting story behind it, I'd say. So basically, my brother had booked in to see Heidi. Now, I could not remember for the life of me what date he was booked in, and it was gonna be his first tattoo. So I was like, hella excited for my brother. I was like, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love her, it's such a nice experience. And I was excited, it's his first tattoo. And then, a couple weeks later, Heidi posted, oh, I have a cancellation on this date, does anybody want to take it? And I was like, I'll wait a little bit because maybe I'll take it for the funsies. I don't know what I'll get, but maybe I'll take it. And then my work schedule aligned with the tattoo. I wasn't working on the day that the booking date was set. So I was like, it's a sign. Like the goblin I am, so I DM'd Heidi and I was like, I'll take it. And she was like, oh sweet, like what do you want to get? And I was like, flowers. Just a bunch of flowers. I don't care what they are. Do whatever you want. Do a little bunch. I literally was like, I just want to fill in this gap because this gap was bugging me so much now that I had like quite a few pieces on this arm and this arm is pretty much filled in. I was looking at this being like, there's nothing there. It needs to be filled. Put flowers there. And she was like, okay, sweet. So when I went to get it, I was sitting in like waiting for her to set up and I texted my brother saying like, you know, like, rehehe, I'm getting a spontaneous tattoo right now with Heidi, lol. And I told him, I was like, I cannot wait for you to meet her, like, you're gonna have such a great time. And then my brother tells me, I was meant to be getting my tattoo today. I was the one that cancelled. I had no idea it was my brother's spot. What are the odds of that? I'm actually gonna be using the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette and I'm using the shade Milky Way for my inner corners because I can't get enough of this shade. And the funny thing is, while I was sitting there getting tattooed, Heidi said to me, she was like, did you know that this was your brother's spot? Because obviously she knew. I had talked to her about my brother wanting to get his first tattoo from her and she obviously like saw the last name on the booking form and knew that it was him. So she asked me, she was like, did you know this was your brother's spot? And she said, did you feel bad? Because she said, I was wondering, like, oh no, did they feel bad that their brother cancelled? And I was like, I literally had no idea that it was his spot and we were just laughing about it and it was very funny. It was just a funny little coincidence. And this does actually have a bit of a meaning behind it, I will say. It is just a beautiful little bunch of flowers, very stunning. The reason why I jumped on that tattoo appointment, not only because I am a goblin, but also because the tattoo appointment was booked, like the date was exactly 1 week after I relapsed in self-harm. Now, I hadn't self-harmed in a very long time. Like, I don't remember the exact last time I did before this relapse, and this relapse was a couple months ago. But I was just really, really, really struggling and I self-harmed over this spot and thankfully, without getting too like graphic, I didn't do much damage but I was still ashamed, and the fact that the spot was opened up, like the tattoo appointment literally came up like a few days before, like a few days after I self-harmed, and it was exactly a week after I had done the deed. And the fact that my work schedule aligned and everything kind of like, I just felt a need to get it. I was like, this is a sign that I need to get it. And thankfully, like, it was pretty much healed over by the time I went to the appointment. There was a few little bits, but thankfully it didn't affect the tattoo too much. And when Heidi was doing this, it felt like it felt like self-harm, and it was just very therapeutic and extremely healing for me, especially being on this arm, because while I did it a lot on this arm as well, this arm was quite, you know, I do have a lot of scars on here that have pretty much fully healed, but like, they're still visible to me because I know that they're there. And also the fact that I got flowers there kind of like, you know, you could say symboled the new growth and a new, you know, covering up something that I'm ashamed of with flowers to show growth or whatever. Something cheesy like that. So yeah, my impulsive tattoo ended up being probably one of the most meaningful to me. Anyways, we're moving on to the final tattoo. I have literally been recording for 40 minutes. I am so sorry. This is gonna be a piss long video. All of my videos have been super long lately, I'm so sorry. My waterline, I am using the Colourpop Creme Gel Liners in Sunnyvale and what's this one called? Crybaby. Oh, very fitting. So the last tattoo that I have had and my most recent one is this one right here. This is a hummingbird, also done by Heidi. This one is also quite special to me. Now, I have started a project and I knew that I kind of wanted to do something like this for a while, but I didn't know how. But I am doing a project where I have the people that I love the most and I am closest with in my life choose a tattoo for me. I want the people that are most important to me to be represented on myself, and I can always carry that with me. But the hummingbird was a tattoo that my mum chose for me. So I asked her and she thought long and hard about it and she said, I want a hummingbird because hummingbirds are beautiful creatures. My mum absolutely adores them and she knows my love for birds and all of that. And also, my cousin, my older cousin, has a hummingbird tattoo on her shoulder blade with a flower. It doesn't look anything like mine. I didn't copy hers, don't worry. But it's kind of cute that like we both in a way like have something that like brings us together, and yeah. I was going to put all of the tattoos that my, you know, friends and family chose on one part of my leg just so they're all together. But I knew with the hummingbird I wanted it to be close to like very close to me. Like, leg obviously, like, it's a bit further away from my body. It's just, I want to have something that I can look at like this, and having, you know, my mum on my shoulder is just sweet. I'm gonna use Nabla Truth Skin Glazing Blush. And the cute thing is the way that it's placed, it's kind of like the hummingbird is going for the little lavenders here, which is adorable. It was Heidi's idea. I was like, just place it where you think is best. I just want it in this general area. And again, one of my least painful tattoos. It was really lovely. So yeah, that tattoo is dedicated to my mum. So that is the story of the hummingbird. Now I'm gonna quickly talk about the theme for my tattoos, because you might have noticed that I do have a plan with my tattoos. So this half of my body, I am planning to cover it with plants, flowers, bits of nature like that, maybe even a bit of fruit as well. I do really want a little lemon tattoo from Heidi because she does lemons really cute. They're just really cute looking. And this half of my body is gonna be animals. Now, obviously I have a lavender on this side, but that's only because, you know, I wanted it to match. But that's basically my plan with my tattoos, and I am hoping to finish this sleeve by the end of this year. That's my plan. I am going to get a duck, a duckling and a goose here, probably a little bee somewhere, because I really love bees, and it's a good little tiny filler piece. And this piece here, this kind of bothers me that I'm like, it's empty. So I was going to get a little gecko because, again, I fucking love geckos, and we used to have a lot of them in our houses in Australia, like just like outside, like you just see them in the garden. They're really bloody cute, and I want to have a little baby gecko. Now I don't have any other tattoos apart from the ones that you see right here. I don't have any on my legs, but I do want to get my legs done. I just haven't like thought about what I wanted there yet. And I do want to get like my sternum. I want to get like, I will say the only places that I'm not planning to get any tattoos are my feet and my face. Mainly because I don't like feet. I don't like looking at feet. I don't like looking at my own feet. Just don't touch feet. I don't like feet. So I don't really want to get any tattoos there. And I also face, because I promised my mum that I would not tattoo my face. She said everywhere else is fine. I did convince her, like, neck. I don't ask my mum for permission. She absolutely loves my tattoos, and because of me, she wants to get tattoos. But I did promise her, I was like, okay, I won't tattoo my face. I have been talking at you for a very long time, so I am just gonna real quick finish up the rest of my face and be back to do the outro. Alrighty, I have finished up the rest of my face. If you're curious, the lipstick that I'm wearing is the Odin's Eye Cream Lip Stain in Little Jasmine. You can just see that shift of that shade Bloom. Look at how pretty that is. So yeah, with all of that said and done, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do let me know, do you have any tattoos? What are the stories behind them? I would really like to know. If you would like to see more makeup content from me, then you can follow me on my Instagram. It's Beauty by Skye right here. I post all my looks there and I'm active on there every single day. And if you'd like to support me further, I do have my own small business, Rain Cloud Candles Co. We are a small queer-owned business based in the UK and we make handmade candles. The link to shop will be down below along with our social media if you would like to support us. And like I said earlier in the video, I will be linking Heidi and Laura's Instagrams down below. Please do check them out. I absolutely adore them. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!